Lazy on the track, wait. Lazy on the track, wait.
We're live. Welcome to the show, Dom. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Anytime, bro. Anytime. So I've got a lot to talk to you about today, man. And the main focus is basically, fashion blogging because we've not really talked about that exclusively yet. We've talked about it from a photographer's point of view, from someone who takes pictures with fashion bloggers, but being a fashion blogger, we both have very similar followers. So it's like, people are always trying to find out how to be successful as a fashion blogger. You're pretty successful. So we'll talk about a lot of those different things today. So my first question for you is, who is Dom and what does he do?
So my name's Dom Hadley. I'm basically a social media, well, technically influencer. I'm mainly a YouTuber. So my YouTube channel is called Payday Pickups. I do a load of men's fashion videos. My main style kind of revolves around vintage clothing. And I also own my own business, which is called Payday Vintage.
So you got so many different things going on for yourself, man. It's not just fashion blogging. There's like a lot of stuff behind closed doors as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I try and keep myself as busy as possible. But the first time in my life, I'm probably putting my eggs in too many baskets, to be honest.
I think it's probably the best time to do it now, isn't it? While you've got the time to think about it. So yeah, let's just jump right in then, man. Like, how did you actually start your journey as a fashion blogger, and what actually made you think about fashion blogging in the first place?
So surprisingly, YouTube was how it started. I used to watch YouTube all the time. Like KSI was like my role model. I used to watch all the videos. I thought the life of a YouTuber had to be like the dream job. And when you're younger, you kind of have like so much free time and summer holidays. So originally, I actually started the channel with my brother. You probably didn't even know this.
I know. I actually don't really. I thought it was just you. Like,
yeah, so he's 4 years older than me. He's a graphic designer, so he made like the cool intro for me, the logo, and I bought. Do you remember the time when like the Red Octobers were trending, like the Yeezy red shoes?
Right.
So I made my own pair of red shoes on like Adidas ID. It's like Nike ID.
Just doing your own take of like shoes.
Yeah, and then I did my first video, and somehow on YouTube it got like 15,000 views within the first month.
That's so good, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, starting out. So we did that. It was just like a hobby. We did actually, surprisingly, I didn't actually tell anyone because the videos were terrible. I was so shy. I used to be shy in front of a camera.
How many years was this ago? Like a couple of years ago?
Yeah, this was probably 4 years ago now. So I was in lower sixth form.
Okay.
And then so it was just a hobby. I wasn't really that much into fashion, I'd say, but it was just kind of like a good niche to start out on.
Yeah,
I was always like in sixth form, you start wearing your own clothes, you don't have uniform. So I was constantly like getting new things and just thought, why not make a video of it?
So for my international followers and your international followers, like, yeah, in the UK, it's so weird. You grow up wearing like uniforms, and then when you get into college, it's like you got your own freedom to dress how you want, and then you've got social media, and it's like, oh my God, yes, I can start looking cool as hell.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I just like having, obviously it's quite good to get complimented on kind of what you're wearing. So I think that just kind of got my interest. And then obviously the first time a brand contacted us to send us clothes, like that was just like blew my mind.
Was it like a boost of like confidence? Like, okay, I'm going in the right direction. Something's clearly working out.
Yeah, as soon as I got the first set of free clothes, I was like, this is like unbelievable. Like, how can I not carry on doing this?
That's insane. We'll definitely want to talk to you a bit more about that later. But for people tuning in, if you've got any questions about fashion blogging, how to get in the trade, or just anything to do with fashion, just ask us away. Dom will definitely give you some inside tips that even I don't even know about. But for sure, so you've been doing it for 4 years, and would you say like this is your main profession now, fashion blogging?
Definitely. I'd probably say, to be honest, now the Payday Vintage is probably the main thing that I concentrate on, because that's the thing that generates the most money. Like YouTube obviously is my like dream, but the ad revenue now on YouTube just is definitely not what it was before.
Yeah, it's a lot more like saturated, and there's a lot more competition, and because of the current crisis, everyone's taking a hit in terms of just advertising revenue, I bet.
Yeah, 100%.
But you're so passionate about fashion, and I guess I want to ask another question. Where do you actually get your style and inspiration from? Because you said you're really interested in vintage clothing, so I'm gonna kind of just jump into like your page and just kind of get a feel for you. Like what is your taste in fashion, and how would you describe it to people?
My taste. So I like wearing stuff that's completely different. I think that's why I love vintage clothes so much, because first of all, they're cheap. When I was younger, I wasn't spoiled or anything. I used to like save up my pocket money to pay for all my clothes. So I used to go to charity shops all the time. And obviously charity shops, you can actually find some stuff for so cheap, and like it can all be branded.
So would you say most of the clothes you have are like, from thrifting or reselling or like vintage shops and things, or just clothes that you just can't buy anymore because they're like classic ones from the past?
Yeah, pretty much everything I wear is majority secondhand unless it's been sent to me, because I just think as well the quality is so much better. I
Hmm.
think it's lasted that long. I quite like the character of it. I love, as you probably can tell from my feed, I like wearing a lot of like bright colors. I like to like kind
Yeah,
of stand out.
definitely. Got such a diverse variety of colors, and Andrew says that Burberry coat though, the one he
Oh my god, there.
definitely the iconic shot that he took. Yeah, I think this is such a great one as well. And like again, like you probably snagged a really good deal off that. And another good thing about it is that you're very sustainable in fashion as well.
Yeah, that's correct. I feel like as much as like I have worked with fast fashion brands, I feel like the concept of how they just of people who just buy something just to follow a trend and then just getting rid of it. I feel like all these vintage pieces that I have, unless obviously I do sell some on my website, but majority of them are like pieces that can stay in your collection for like forever.
Yeah,
I feel like,
and you're always buying and selling clothing, so you always have like a new wardrobe every single month or so, I'm guessing.
yeah, correct. So I keep my statement pieces, and then with the payday vintage stuff, it's kind of like works hand in hand because I have more clothes to create content and outfits and
What
videos.
what is your favorite like statement pieces and brands then, like that you just love wearing all the
Love.
time?
So you probably may know it. Vintage Tommy Hilfiger. I'm kind of
Yeah.
called Tommy Hilfiger.
You've
I'm
got a
kind
lot
of
of Tommy Hilfiger on your feed.
yeah, a lot of Tommy. The only thing that's annoying me is they re-released a lot of their vintage. So
Yeah.
it came out in like Urban Outfitters and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it
definitely.
kind of put me off it a bit more. I used to love it so much, and
Yeah.
then at the moment now vintage Nike. But I just love some of the random pieces. Like if you go down a bit more there, scroll down, the one with the McDonald's jacket. Like I love.
Yeah, this is really cool. Like again, I just didn't even know this kind of stuff you could buy in shop, or is it just like a vintage piece that you found?
So I found that in LA. They're basically it's like a rain. You know NASCAR, they're like a
Yeah,
racing
yeah,
race.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you can get some like crazy sponsors like cigarette brands, food
Oh
brands,
yeah, so it's like a racer jacket.
yeah, racer jackets. So with
Yeah.
like M&M ones, you'll find like Oreo ones, Skittles.
Yeah, they're so cool, man. Like literally, yeah, you just would not be able to get them like in candidly in a shop nowadays anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So
Because
I
not everybody
definitely
wants to wear like that sort of stuff anymore. Because like like you said, the trends are changing. But like I think that's what makes your pieces really like iconic. Like they're like limited edition now.
yeah, yeah, and I love like the story behind them. So that one you just clicked on, like the Marlboro one,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did. So they're like that's from the '90s. You can't even get
Really?
brand new
This looks
anymore.
so like now. Like I thought this would be like an outfit that you could just get. Like this kind of stuff I'd love to shoot. Like just
Yeah. So basically, the
wear.
story with that Marlboro stuff is back in the day when you bought a sleeve of cigarettes, you got a piece of clothing for free,
Right.
and that was the
That's
only way you
crazy.
could get clothing.
Seriously, that's insane. That is. Oh
Yeah, and
yeah, I
that
see the
little
patch
pouch,
now. Yeah, I can see the little patch in that little bag. Yeah.
and the bag is a. Do you remember CD cases? Do you remember you put
Yeah,
like your
yeah, yeah. I still got some for like old CD cases.
yeah, that's literally what that bag is.
So you've actually like revised a lot of accessories as well to make it work with fashion.
Hmm.
And the thing, and I think another thing about like your inspo is like you're taking the vintage items, but then you're going to such modern places, and it looks like a whole new vibe. Like
Hmm.
it's like a whole new way of wearing it in like urban streetwear.
Yeah,
Like,
hundred
do you
percent,
think vintage clothing has got like a place in like street fashion now?
100%. I feel like they complement so well now, and I feel like obviously the whole stigma around hype beasts. I feel like that people kind of see that now as not very fashionable. So people kind of are mixing like vintage with designer pieces now, and that's kind of like the way
Yeah.
fashion's kind of going.
Yeah, definitely. And I see your point, and I'd say like your like adventure is quite affordable as well. It's not like you have to get the latest drop at the latest time, like with
Mhm.
modern day like streetwear, like if you get like hype beast, like getting the latest trends is like a statement itself. It's like, oh look, I've got the limited edition and it's sold
Mhm.
out already. Whereas like you're kind of doing the same thing but for cheaper, and it's like you can't buy these things anymore.
Yeah, like I've never actually spent over £100 on a piece of clothing.
So wait, what? You've never spent £100 over a piece of clothing?
Yeah, never.
And
Everything's
like,
under
how
£100.
much does the average hype beast like piece of clothing cost? Like Palace or Supreme or
Palette.
like?
So for the t-shirts of Palace and Supreme are probably around £40. Hoodies around like 95. But all the Palace pieces I've got, I've bought secondhand as well.
And that's still way cheaper than actually like buying fresh new ones, right?
Yeah, 100%. And like the photo you're at now is when I was in America,
Yeah.
and the thrift stores in America are a joke. Like,
Yeah, the thrift stores in America are like the size of an actual like grocery store here, like an actual like it's insane, isn't it? Like you just got racks and racks of clothing. I've just seen videos. Is this you at one of them or
Yeah, that's me at one of them. So there was just
in
boxes,
Pennsylvania?
yeah, full. That was where I did my year abroad in Philly, and they just had boxes full of load of different clothes, all branded, says what it is, like Harley Davidson tees, Tommy,
Yeah.
and
You know what? Like, I think if the UK made a bit more effort on being sustainable, we'd have so many more thrift stores. Because the thrift stores we do have in like big cities, they're kind of like they're called like pop-up shops. They kind of come and go, don't they? There's not like actual
yeah,
dedicated. There are small dedicated ones,
yeah.
but
There's one in Manchester, isn't there, that Weigh and Pay one. That's probably the only one that's like
yeah.
stays there constantly.
So a good tip for being a fashion blogger is don't spend all your money straight away. Actually try and see if you can start with a good budget. Go to
Yeah,
a thrift
100%. I
store.
feel
You
like
can still
people,
like find brands that are like up there.
yeah, because I feel like you should start instead of like trying to just copy other big influencers, because majority of these big influencers have like started to get more money. So then once you get more money, you kind of do hand in hand buy like more expensive clothing. So I
Yeah.
feel like you've got to start from somewhere
Yeah.
cheaper.
And eventually maybe you won't even have to buy stuff. You'll just get it sent out to you, and we'll talk a little bit about like, how you get all that. So Rabbi says, from one fashionista to another, how do you manage multiple outfits? Do you have a large wardrobe you do resell, or do you use a storage unit to house everything? That's a good question. Like, you got loads of clothes, like where do you actually keep them?
Yeah, so currently I don't have a storage unit. I do the business in partnership, so he obviously has a lot of his, and then I have some of mine. Um, I do have quite a big wardrobe, but I try and just keep to like the statement pieces. So like you need like essentials like blue jeans, beige trousers, black trousers.
Stuff that you can wear with like most of
Yeah,
your
where with pretty
clothing.
much any like, versatile pieces. And then I try and if I absolutely love it, then I'll keep it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit of a hoarder. I can't lie. But if it's something which I feel like I don't need now, I try and sell it straight after.
That's so cool. Like, you've got a plan for everything and it's affordable, and you don't have to your budget doesn't have to go over £100. So like being a fashion blogger can be cheap if you're also very sustainable, right?
Mhm. Yeah, 100%.
And in pictures nobody really cares, because like you can't really tell, can you, like whether this is brand new or this is like resale. It's like this just looks sick to me at the end of the day. That's all I care about.
Yeah, like that was I mean, to be fair, that actually wasn't secondhand. That was a small brand, but that was £30 for the full tracksuit, which I couldn't believe how cheap
Mhm.
that was.
It looks so like inspired by techwear. Like it
Yeah,
looks really
yeah.
nice. So you've got a lot of vintage inspiration. Is there anything else you like wearing apart from vintage clothing? Because like this is again something very different from vintage.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, so I like to dabble into like streetwear brands and like independent brands. I try and like,
Hmm.
because obviously I started from somewhere small and grew my platform. So
Yeah,
obviously a lot of people are kind of like thriving independently. So I kind of want to help them out. So if
yeah,
a small brand gets in contact or I contact them, I post photos to try and help them out, because I feel like their clothes deserve more recognition,
yeah,
and like
definitely.
the one with the faces there go down a little bit more.
Which one is it?
That one
Oh,
there.
this one here. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
that's from a
really
brand
cool. I
called
love this design.
Timberland. Yeah, it's like a cool design. I just think they literally just started out with their first t-shirt.
I
I
think
just
the
thought,
graphic design on like a brand is so important. Like it really makes you just the piece of clothing last longer in your head. Like it's so much more like a long lasting impression, isn't it?
yeah, 100%.
Like, and the way you've taken the shot as well. Like being a fashion blogger is not just about taking a picture of your outfit. It's like how you take a picture of your outfit as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Like it
well,
just looks like a whole like piece together. This like doesn't it?
that's why, to be honest, I take a lot of inspiration from your page.
This one's really good as well.
So I learn about, obviously, I feel like for a fashion blogger as well, if you in
Yeah.
America, I did some photography courses, and that helped so much.
Okay, so definitely as a fashion blogger, you should pay attention to people how to take photographs as well.
Yeah, because obviously stuff like rule of thirds, leading lines,
Yeah,
composition,
absolutely.
it
Yeah,
matters so much.
yeah. I mean, do they ever get frustrating, like when you can't find someone to take your pictures and you have to take it yourself, and it's like, great, now I gotta like, or do you normally take it yourself, or does someone take your pictures for you? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah. So the ones in the house I usually take myself.
Yeah.
But the other ones, that's kind of why I got into photography, because I always had a struggle of not having people to take my photos unless I'm with my girlfriend. She's fine with it.
Yeah.
So I thought if I learn to take photos, then I'll take photos of people for free. I get more content. And then in return, I just say, can you hold the camera like this and then take a
Right.
photo of them?
So it's pretty easy to just tell people how to take pictures, and once you find your place, you got your image, it's all quite easy, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Wicked. Who has more wardrobe space, you or Izzy? So you or your girlfriend?
She has 4 wardrobe space. Me, that's another problem. My house at Leeds, I've got it's probably about 400 pieces of clothing just piled up like next to my bed, not even in boxes or anything.
That's insane.
Not
But
even
then
clean.
again, you've got a quite justified reason for that as well. You're not just a fashion blogger, which we know we'll talk a bit about as
Mhm.
well. But like that's so cool to see that you've got like a whole like different locations as well, like for storage as well, and like that you're always like sharing across. So yeah, you've got vintage inspo. You're working with like brands. You're very sustainable, and I'd say you mainly like gravitate towards vintage as
Yeah.
like your like a little style. That's pretty sick. So like, what advice would you give to fashion bloggers? Like, what are some of the essential things that you need to be a fashion blogger when you're starting out? Like, what did you need?
Well, I feel like nowadays you don't need too much because first of all, iPhone aesthetic photos sometimes probably do better than camera photos because being a fashion blogger, the best way to kind of grow is to get posted on different fashion pages.
Yeah.
And a lot of these fashion pages do only repost iPhone shots.
So, I guess I had on last week told me a conspiracy, and she said that this is like my tinfoil hat putting on now. So like, she said that like on Instagram there is like Instagram favors metadata from mobile images, like iPhone images, more than it does from a DSLR camera. Like it recognizes the data that you've taken from a mobile, and is then able to push it in the algorithm much better than a DSLR. I don't know if it's 100% true, but I just heard it and I was like, that's
I
interesting.
honestly can agree with that though. I think it is true.
I mean, so I'm gonna just quick go back to your page, and have you done like pictures on iPhones or like mobile, or is yours kind of pretty much all
No,
DSLR?
it's only just the mirror shots all off my
So are
iPhone.
these ones, they look really clean, they look really, really clean. They look
Yeah, so
really.
I take them into Lightroom. That's why I have to.
So that yeah, there's still a process of editing, right? So
Yeah.
essential things you need a good phone with a good camera or
Mhm.
a DSLR, but you're still editing, so you need like an editing software still.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you obviously can still. There's loads of apps like ViscoCam. You can even use the
Yeah.
Instagram one and
Yeah,
that.
yeah, there is, yeah.
But another key thing is I feel like matching locations with your outfit color. So color blocking, you do
Yeah.
that really well on your feed. And
Yeah,
just,
well, that's one thing that gravitated me towards following people similar, because I was like, I want to see how other people like do it as well. And you were already doing this when I followed you, and it's like you got a really good understanding of how to make an overall image, aesthetic, and it's like it just blends really well with stuff like this, like tech wear and like industrial, like urban places just
yeah,
work so well together. But then you've got like the McDonald's shot, and you have that right outside like a McDonald's place, and that's like obviously like really iconic, and there's just loads of different things that you've got going on.
yeah. I feel like once you start getting into it a lot more, if you plan your shoot, then it honestly makes things so much better. Like you do feel like a normal
Yeah.
photographer. You plan your locations and you know kind
Hmm.
of what you want. Then it makes like that crusty land photo is one of my favorite photos that
Yeah, that's
ever.
so cool. That's amazing.
Backgrounds, I just like you have to get a photo with that background.
Yeah, and it's still like, your piece of clothing fits there, because like as a fashion blogger, you're trying to like show people like where are the best places to wear this, what am I gonna look like everything kind of like complements the environment. So like as a fashion blogger, you should also take some consideration that you need to find good locations to shoot these places in, right?
Yeah, 100%. And the bit I learned from you as well was I like to in photos trying to find like obviously a building that's higher, like not have an empty space. Like
Yeah, definitely. I like personally for me, I mean a lot of other people might think otherwise, but like I just don't have like having too much dead space on the screen.
yeah, I'm exactly
Um,
the same.
but it just depends where you are, because like obviously like if you're near a beach, you're gonna have like blue skies, but then they look nice already to see anyway.
Yeah,
But like if you're in a city, man, like the buildings just look unreal, and you've got all this like stuff that is just like catching your eye, and you're just looking at the image longer, aren't you? Like this one,
yeah. That's what
I love
personally
this
think.
shot. Like this one's great,
Yeah,
and this one, like you just got so much going for it. Like oh, and this one, like you've got the whole like leading line just zooming in.
yeah. That location in New York is just insane.
Yeah, I wish so. Like, I think for a fashion blogger, do you think you do need some good locations to live in the first place? Like, or can you make, like
I
locations
feel
work
like
for you?
you don't actually have. I think location helps massively, but you can literally take photos pretty much anywhere. I feel like I've seen like someone did like a shoot in like a fish and chip shop and people doing shoot.
Yeah.
As long as you get, I mean, lighting is definitely a huge one.
Yeah. This one's really cool. Talking about lighting.
Yeah, that's Manchester.
Yeah.
and like just setting up like a kind of aesthetic and like kind of making like a theme with your kind of style as well. So people
Yes.
follow as well for your fits, but as well for like your personal style.
And you've got seasonal fits as well, right? So do you base your fits based on the seasons, the trends, or you just kind of go with what you feel like in that moment?
Yeah, feel like I just go with kind of what's in that moment. I find not to like because obviously when it's colder, I'm definitely just wearing more clothes like that.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously like different seasons, you just kind of bring out different things, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So camera and some editing software and some nice locations. That's a starting package, right?
Yeah,
For a good fashion blogger.
yeah, 100%.
Sounds good, man. So I don't think it's very difficult to be like a fashion blogger then once you've got the right things in places. But speaking of which, like you teased before, like, you know, once you've got all those things, like certain brands started reaching out to you and started asking you to promote or work with, like, how did that happen? Like, what was like your first time and, you know, what did you do?
So the very first time there was a brand actually called, you may know, do you know Remedy Clothing,
Yeah, yeah,
RMUI?
yeah. Remedy. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like they're from Chester as well. He's just
Hmm.
outside of Chester, so I know him like personally now, good mates.
Really, really like the aesthetics and like the fonts and the
Mm.
clothing.
So then he contacted me, and then he was like, "I love like what you're doing," because like in my city, I think I was like the only person that I know of doing YouTube at the time.
Yeah. Or like a big fashion blogger as well, like, you know,
Mm. And
definitely.
then so he contacted me to send free clothes, and to be honest, I couldn't believe it at first. Like I was offering like, "No, it's fine. I can pay for like some of it," because I didn't even know that was a thing. Like I was so unknown to it. And then from that, obviously worked with him, and we still work together from now. And then after seeing that content, I kind of used it to like show other brands what I can make if I liked a company. But I don't take on stuff from any company. I only take on stuff that I actually like.
That you've worked with. And since then, you've been working with Remedy quite a bit now as well, haven't you,
Yeah,
still?
yeah,
So let's just jump in and see what you've got. So I think, did you have some recent ones that you had with Remedy on here?
yeah. The one with Izzy, just go up there. It's just the one with the double fleece. I think you've just gone past it. It's just right near the top.
This one
The
here?
mirror. Keep going up.
I think I might have
Literally
missed
right,
it.
on the right
Oh yeah,
bottom.
yeah. So how else would you then like say, you know, like you've been a fashion blogger, you've been sent out your first, you know, brand clothings and things like that. How else do you reach out to other brands, or does it just naturally happen like a snowball effect, or do you sometimes make the first move, like, you know, do you reach out to other brands and kind of give
Yeah,
them
I
like a
actually reached out.
idea?
Yeah, I reach out to brands to fit this. So obviously dependent on what I kind of want, but if I see a brand which I really like the aesthetic of, then for example, like that Sloan Studios, the one in the
Which
orange right
one?
there.
Oh, this one's really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
pop so nice.
is this a brand that you reached out to, or did they reach out to you?
This one reached out to me, but for example, like ASOS. So the first time they reached out to me, but then the second time I reached out to them. And what I
That's
kind of
so
do,
cool.
I actually created like my own kind of like a CV, but with some of my photos with the analytics.
So how did that CV work? Like, is the Instagram page not enough, or do you have to literally send them an email and be like, "So here's my page. Here's what I
I
can
just
do for
thought
you."
with making it, it kind of looks like you're serious. And because for me personally, when I own Payday Vintage, we get messaged like 100 times a day by people
Hmm.
saying, "I have some free clothes for promotion." I feel like they must be getting hundreds of thousands of emails every day, these companies. So I want to kind of stand
Yeah,
out and look
yeah,
serious. So if I produce something which shows my analytics, shows what I can do,
right.
shows
So you got
how I can
to
help.
show some evidence first of like success before you can even jump into
Yeah.
like the sponsoring and like reaching out for like brand collaborations and things like that.
I want
So,
to kind of show like the most. You kind of learn it in
mhm.
business how to add value for the company. You can't just be. You don't want to look like you're just going there to get free clothes. You kind of want to show that
Yeah.
you're going to benefit them more than you're going to benefit.
So maybe take like some time and a few months just like building your feed and just enjoy being a fashion blogger, be very passionate about it, and then maybe you'll get some like, you know, people and connections over the course of it and then just kind of like roll with it.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like you've definitely got to kind of stay authentic because you see with quite a lot of fashion bloggers that their page kind of turns into a bit of an ad.
Yeah, like I'd say like yours definitely doesn't, because like it just feels like this is you doing your thing, like you're just enjoying wearing clothes and you're kind of giving people some inspiration along the way of how to style.
Hmm.
Especially like vintage clothing. But then you have got those like, you know, like incentives of doing the job, like the brand collaborations, and just reminds you why it's like such a good little field to be in, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's cool, definitely. So yeah, man, there's a lot of like good advice there. So moving on from that, like again, you're not just also being a fashion blogger, you're also someone who started their own business.
Hmm.
Simi says definitely good to email brands and companies. Definitely agree with you there, Simi. And like obviously you said like send a nice CV. Like once you've got your page and your confidence, send them your analytics and just kind of give them a reason to invest in you, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm actually planning to do that's one of my next videos, how to basically get free clothes with having like zero followers.
All right, that's going to be a sick one. We'll definitely look out for that one. Can't wait.
Mhm.
So, what is Payday Vintage and how did you start it? Because this is like something else that kind of you started alongside being a fashion blogger. And this is another realistic thing maybe other fashion bloggers can do rather than just depend on fashion blogging. They can also venture into this and make different forms of like revenue and things like that, right?
Yes, 100%. So it's actually quite a funny story. So as you all know, I love vintage clothing, and I used to shop from a few like independent vintage stores, such as like they call that Rick's Retro, Class A Vintage, like other competitors.
Right.
And I just always was like amazed at how they found like such nice pieces.
Yeah.
So I came across this small kind of company they're called Sarah Vintage, and they only had like 300 followers, but they had a lot of nice
Right.
clothing.
Yeah.
I messaged them asking like how do they get the stuff. Obviously they didn't tell me, but I jumped on a phone call with the guys, Alfie, and we ended up getting on really well. And we proposed the idea that we become a partnership. So this was a random person I'd never even met,
Mm-hmm.
and we decided I've got the following to make it grow in the YouTube channel, and then obviously we can create the name Payday Vintage, and then he's got the supplier, and then from there we just started it January
And
2018, and then
now
from
you
there,
have 64,000 almost followers, which is
yeah,
crazy. Like you're basically an online thrift store, right?
yeah, that's correct.
So like you're literally making it more easier for people to buy sustainable online, basically, especially on Instagram. Like you're an
Yes,
online vintage store, and you've got your own Instagram and you've got your own site, and people can just come here and just buy stuff, and it's like a lot more cheaper and sustainable than what you'd get if you bought it pretty much on day one, right?
yeah, 100%.
So cool. And you've been doing it since 2018, and I've seen the growth. Like I remember you like talking to me saying, um, your engagement for Payday Vintage was just going up. Like was it like a
Yeah,
thousand followers a week or something, or
yeah. So
like,
now it's gone to like 2,000 to 3,000 a week, which is
oh
insane.
my God, really?
But I
That's
mean, we have
insane.
started obviously with Facebook ads, but
Yeah.
with the Instagram algorithm, when
Hmm.
you go on like the section, it shows like common things you've been
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, there's that whole shop section now, and I feel
Oh,
like
okay. So people
so
find
Instagram,
stuff easier now.
because obviously Instagram's a business now, it's bought by Facebook. I feel like they want to promote businesses because they know they'll spend money on ads.
Yeah, definitely. I think that makes more sense, and I think that's another reason why you're really successful. Like you took a leap of faith in the right direction, and I think the feed is really aesthetic as well. I like your hangers. Like these are some really like
Yeah,
really like crafty
yeah.
ones
So we
that I
try and
don't
keep
really
the feed.
see.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it completely matching, so that goes all the way down the middle, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah, and you've got like some logo like zooms on here. You've got some nice like it just looks like Urban Outfitters but online,
yeah,
basically.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. So like how have you, like in terms of the success of it, like how successful has Payday Vintage been for you as a fashion blogger and like is this now become your main profession?
Yeah, so this as soon as I finish my final few assignments at uni, I'm going to take this and the YouTube full time.
Yeah.
This year in
That
2020, and I mean, surprisingly, even with the COVID-19 situation, it's
you
actually
still
probably
doing well? Are
it's
you doing
doing better.
okay?
Isn't it? Had more because I think people obviously getting paid furlough. They say,
Yeah. People still want to retain a good look but don't want to spend crazy amounts, and then that's where people like you come really handy because it's like, well, I can still get good brands for a good price.
yeah, and so definitely highly worked at our advantage, surprisingly.
That's amazing, man. I'm like I'm so glad for you. Like everything's still like just top notch and it's just growing. Like, and the website looks really professional as well, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like it looks awesome.
Yeah, so
Um,
we basically recently got that done. So we worked with like a guy who can code to make it better because we thought if we're going to take it full time, it needs to look professional as possible.
what do your friends and teachers think about this? Like, like what are you studying at university right now?
So I study international business. So
Yeah. So international business and you've got your own business sorted pretty much. So it kind of worked out for you. You've had pretty much a useful degree and you're into fashion and you started your own business. So would you say that these are just some of the perks that you've got with being a successful fashion blogger and just knowing how the fashion industry works?
yeah, I feel like the best thing about being like a fashion blogger is you build like a personal brand. So once you get that following of people who like want to see your work, then they're kind of, have you heard the theory where it's like if you have 100 loyal fans, it's like you've got 100 loyal customers.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. So they're going to kind of follow you wherever, on kind of whatever decisions you do.
Yeah, and invest in you and take that leap of faith with you.
Yeah.
That's good, man. And again, you've got fashion blogging, you've got Payday Vintage, but you also said you're not just doing Payday Vintage, you're also a YouTuber. And like, how did that even start? Like, just talk to me about that. Like, because you've got a really successful YouTube channel. Like, you've got loads of different things going for you.
Yeah. So I've got two. So I've got the fashion YouTube channel, and then I've got the other YouTube channel, which is called 2-1.
Okay, so have a look at your YouTube channel. So, got your YouTube channel here, Payday Pickups. This is the main one, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you get some really nice views as well. Like people are tuning in, man. Like they want, and they're like looking at your, it's like lookbooks and styling videos and things like that.
So I do a mixture of kind of everything. So I'll do styling videos to kind of inspire other people. I'll do thrifting videos where I actually go out and buy like stuff from charity shops and secondhand stores.
Yeah. Thrifting videos are so popular online.
Yeah, so popular online. People just, I think, just love to see people get bargains.
Oh, that is shot so well, dude. What the hell? Look at this. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I like it.
That was inspired by, the A$AP Rocky.
Yeah. No, that is so cool. Like, I can see why you're really good on YouTube.
Thank you, man. That effect is literally you just take screenshots and then you just frame them.
Yeah, definitely, man. So obviously, like, you've got your YouTube channel. So what is it all about? Is it like thrifting videos? Is it also showing people how to style, or is it just like vlogging, or a bit of everything? Like,
a bit of everything. So I try and get a balance of. So I have a series where I do a monthly pickups. Then I'll do a combination of styling videos, and then I also do like tutorials, like best places to buy, best places to buy like minimal pieces. Yeah. So I try and do anything around men's fashion.
That is so cool, man. It just looks so well, like, especially like, you can go such a long way with like, vintage fashion and sustainable fashion, and especially like if you know how to wear it, and obviously you're putting accessories and layering it as well, right? So
yeah,
I think people appreciate now more than ever vintage clothing so much more than it did before.
Yeah, especially with obviously the whole thing with the, helping the planet, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of people are taking a lot of like interest in like, sustainability, especially right now.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's definitely pushed, because like vintage clothing was big, but it wasn't never as big as it is now.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, some people just think like it's just like a trend, like people are jumping in on, but I mean, I think it's more of like an investment in it. Like if you're sustainable, like you don't have to worry about like throwing away waste that is going to eventually like cause emissions in the planet and things like that.
And as you say, trends just always come around. Like there's so many clothes that like in my dad's wardrobe that I used to just be like, why are you wearing that? And like now I like Reebok classics, like Benetton, brands which I would always be like, what are you wearing? And like they're so in trend now.
Yeah, and would you always get like a lot of people asking you in the comments or your DMs like, for advice on like vintage clothing? Would you say like there is a huge following that people follow you, like trying to look up to you and be just like you as well?
Yeah, surprisingly quite a lot of the other like small vintage companies that have happened recently. A lot of them have said they got inspired by just watching my videos.
That's so good to hear, man.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the next thing I want to start doing after I graduate, is to start doing more videos about the business, like do like kind of like TV series episodes, so like show like behind the scenes of the business.
Yeah, because you've got the visuals pretty much there on your page, and you do a lot of stuff on like the looks, where to buy it, how to wear it. But yeah, the business side, I think a lot of people don't really know how to work in the digital scape. Like you were saying, there's a lot of advertisement involved. There's a lot of like, you got to find people to make websites, got to do all these different things.
Yeah, there's so many factors that you just kind of wish you got taught by someone else, isn't there? When you start out?
Well, it's like, there's not degrees for things like this, is there? Like you just have a general degree like business, but then you got to go and learn how to apply that to your own niche, and that's
Yeah,
tricky,
literally.
isn't
I
it?
feel like the stuff you kind of learn in uni is not practical. It's like theory. Obviously, it does help, but I feel like networking was the main thing that helped at university.
Do you think you would need university to be a fashion blogger?
Yeah, no, I would say so, but I feel like it's a good way to build like a core following because, especially with university, the best thing is you meet so many more creative people. Because, for
Yeah.
example, I'm from Chester, which only has like 80,000 people,
Yeah, it's
and I
not
think
many. It's small, isn't it?
I only know like 2 photographers.
Yeah.
No one really doing fashion blogging, especially at the time when I started. Whereas when I went to Leeds, there's 80,000 students, and there's so many people
That
from
is
like all over the world
crazy.
doing like art and fashion. So you meet so many creative people.
Yeah, I think networking is one of the best parts about it. And Andrew says payday pickups and 2-1s are both class. And Sophia Carey says you are the PAQ of the North. I love watching PAQ. Yeah, your videos are very like reminiscent of that. Like, you know, when they do like the have you seen the thrifting videos where they do all the thrifting challenge? It's like
They are the ideal fashion channel. Like
yeah, honestly, like where they do like the thrifting challenge and it's like you can only have like $100 and you got to try and find ways to like make it work. And I mean, oh my god, this like you do make it work though, like seriously, crazy. Like there's just so much in there.
You definitely need to try and do it with Sophia, you, Andrew, like a PAQ for photographers.
Yeah, honestly, when we can get back out again, we've got so many video ideas of like, you know, like 4 photographers, 3 photographers shoot this and that with challenges. And as soon as those vintage stores open back up, I would love to do like one of them like time challenges or like get a model. You could be the model actually. Like we'll all just like share you or something.
Yeah, I'm so up for that. So
yeah, we'll just be like, right, we've got to try and find like the best vintage clothing, best location, and it's all in an hour, and just see what happens. Edit it right there and then.
And that was a good thing with the events like that. That oh my god, that was when I first started YouTube Mate with my fashion.
So let's just have a little like look again. So this is Baby Dom when he's first doing his audition to be a fashion.
That's what I mean. I wasn't even into fashion. Look, what am I wearing?
So what are you doing here, man? You're mocking yourself.
So this was I'm doing UK versus American fashion. I'm talking about the stereotypes.
Right. Okay.
About, like, the fuckboy style where boys are wearing.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing at myself in that video because that is dreadful.
Yeah, I mean, you've come a long way since then, man. I think, you know, humble beginnings, every fashion blogger needs to know that there's going to be a lot of like trial and error and like finding yourself and then getting that following.
Yeah, I feel like the more you try and put yourself out there, like try different things, that's when you kind of build your personal style. Because I feel like when I started YouTube, I wasn't even fashionable, to be honest. Like I just made videos around clothing because I liked buying clothing.
Well, that's how it starts, isn't it? Like you're always going to be like a student of something that when you first start out, and it's like now you just know so much about the business, the brands, how to style it, and where to style it, and it's just I think it's just all just going to keep going naturally as it goes up.
Yeah.
Andrew says £100, 1 hour to buy, dress, shoot, and edit. Yeah, that'll be a sick challenge actually.
Yeah, that'll be a sick challenge.
That'll be so cool, man. So, man, you got yourself a successful YouTube channel. So, would you recommend fashion bloggers to start their own YouTube channel as well? Like, is that a good idea?
Yeah, I feel like YouTube as well is so good for getting you confident because there's quite a few people on Instagram, even though they're into fashion, they're quite shy. I feel like people usually with fashion usually represent shy people. I feel like if you put yourself out there with YouTube, I feel like that's the best way to kind of grow confidence. So
yeah, I mean, you've got a new layer to yourself now because on Instagram you just see like still images of people you don't really know their persona, their personality, and like their attitude, and then like in the videos that's why I do like a lot of lookbooks myself for Instagram, because it's like you see that extra dimension to how fierce someone is, or like how shy someone is, or how innocent someone is, and it's like how to style it as well, you know, like walking around.
That's why I'm glad kind of you did your YouTube as well, because to be honest, before I even met you, I didn't even know what you looked like. I know.
Yeah. A lot of people are just like, who is this person? Like, So I think it's good to just get yourself involved with the community. Like you've built a community, that's quite important, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% with YouTube. So yeah, I think you've always got to keep up to date with the people who are like actually messaging you. It's kind of like a celebrity with their fans. Like you always need to keep your core fans happy because they're the ones who kind of built you up to where you are now.
Yeah, and I'd say you're very humble in doing so as well. You connect a lot, and it's obviously like done well in your favors for like payday pickups or YouTube. And like, you know, do you ever get messages of people like, oh, can I come and collaborate with you? Can I go do a video with you? Can I do this? Can I do that? Or like, can we shoot together? Yeah, I mean, we shot together. That was great. I loved it.
The part was like stuff when I was in America. There was like people who would like recognize me and say, "Can I have a photo?" I was like, blew my mind.
Oh
like,
my god, really? Where was this? Like, when you were just like,
a few times in New York, and then there was one time it was like in LA. It was so weird. I was like, at one of them flea markets, like,
Yeah.
and I was like looking for a rack, and there was a guy on the opposite side of the same rack,
And he's like,
and he stopped and he was just staring at me, and I was like, I was with my girlfriend. I kind of looked at him like, isn't this guy just staring at me?
it's got
And then
something
I was like,
going on.
I was like, I just said like hi, and then he was like, "Your payday pickups, aren't you?" And
Oh
I was
my God. It's like, yes, mission accomplished.
like, yeah, I was like, to me, it just because I don't know, I don't feel like I'm big or anything. So to me, it was just like,
I think you quite are, like, definitely. Like, you've got a lot of influences, especially for vintage. Like, I don't know many who specialize in that sort of field, and I think you've got a really good like sense of it, especially as a fashion blogger, like vintage fashion blogging. That's such a, I'd say, like, people don't invest in it fully, and when, like, because you understand the craft really well. So yeah, people will definitely recognize you, man. Like, especially in America, that's crazy.
yeah, it was mad. But I feel like YouTube is definitely a lot more accepted in and taken seriously in America compared to the UK.
Yeah, because it's a business, man. People like go on it to learn about fashion, and like I said, Instagram, like, you don't have as long videos. You got IGTV, but like, again, I think people just prefer to watch a full screen rather than, like,
Yeah.
cropped on there. So I think it's just extra content and like extra revenue if you can make it work for you, right?
Yeah.
Wicked. So what's next for you then? Like, how are you dealing with the current situation? You told me all these amazing things about yourself. Are they still working for you, or are you kind of like finding it difficult?
The only difficulty I have is I'm at my girlfriend's currently, so I don't have any of my actual clothes.
So you're wearing her clothes now, or?
So I think I brought 2 pairs of joggers, 4 t-shirts, and that was it.
Right.
And like 1 pair of shoes. So luckily with the payday vintage, I have more clothes that I constantly wear.
Yeah.
But video wise, I feel like it's kind of good. It kind of promotes you to get even more creative because you have to force yourself.
With like limited resources.
Like with my Instagram post recently, I've tried to learn Photoshop a lot more because I feel like you can take a photo to the next kind of level.
Yeah, you're having quite a lot of fun on Photoshop, actually. Like, you're like learning a lot of like image manipulation now. Just like looking at some, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This one was really cool as well. Like,
yeah, that one I just was like, I saw someone do like a similar thing where they just put like, it was the one where you have like with an actual double mirror, you have it behind you.
Oh, yeah. I see. You did something similar as well. It was just like maybe laugh, like the Photoshop
the
stuff.
one, yeah.
Gets people talking. I think it's funny as hell, man. Like,
yeah, so I'm gonna do because I feel
some
like
more
with
Photoshop stuff.
because people who aren't even into fashion can enjoy that as well.
Yeah, I do, man. I just think that's great. Like, people still being creative, like, even though we're in style, you can still learn a lot of different things, and find ways to do it. I've seen so many people just still be creative indoors, and I think, like, what do you think is gonna happen, especially when we get easing the lockdown like we are right now? Do you think fashion bloggers are still gonna go back out, or are we just kind of comfy just doing our own thing at home now? Like, is this gonna be the new norm?
I feel like they'll definitely go out because I mean, natural light for videos is just always better and like
True.
But especially with me, I'm in like my girlfriend's in the middle of the countryside, so there's no buildings or anything. So I mean, it's quite good for stuff like fields and rivers.
Yeah. But eventually, you are gonna want some diversity in those pictures, right?
Like, yeah, it's gonna be hot. Like, what are you gonna do with your photography then?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, right now I'm recycling a lot of content, re-editing a lot of content, sleeping on some stuff that I hadn't posted, which I can post now. So it'll probably keep me going for like maybe max like a month and a half, or maybe a little bit more. But eventually, I do need to go back out and start shooting. So yeah,
you should do even like just street photography. You get like we shoot random people just in public.
Funnily enough, that is how I started off. And if you look at a lot of my pictures, it's reminiscent of street photography because I archived all of those pictures when I first started off. But yeah, literally, that's why I'm so obsessed with locations, because I started off with street photography, and it was just, it was always about finding interesting people and interesting locations. And then eventually I found fashion, and I was like, oh, this is a thing. Fashion blogging. I'll just work with fashion bloggers, and that became a thing, and then that became a thing, and now we're both here.
Another thing, how do you learn like the poses? Because that's one of the main things I take inspiration from your page is I feel like you get the models so out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like, I play it quite safe with my poses, and then when
absolutely, man. Before we jump onto that, Robin says, "What's up?" Came from Dom's Instagram. Thanks for joining us, man. So I feel like this is reversed on the podcast now. Now you're interviewing me, so I'll just quickly jump in and just kind of show you some quickly of my stuff. And I think well, to be honest, I can show them the one that we did because we worked together, didn't we? Like a while back. And oh my God, I can't find it now. I'll find it on my page. Hang on. But yeah, a lot of the poses inspo that I get for my models, I do a lot of like research on editorial photography. So if you go onto Pinterest, and you just type in, editorial shoots,
Yeah,
basically what a lot of people have been doing for the past 2, 3 decades in studios, I'm kind of bringing it out into the streets. Because I think people have a lot more like freedom to move around in a studio safely, and they can do all these like exaggerated poses and things like that. But when you're in a street, it takes a lot of balls to like really be in front of people and do all these like crazy posings that you see. And I like bringing out the animated side of people, like, and that's why I love working, especially with like experienced models who don't care about what other people are thinking, or
yeah,
dancers, and even people who never have, like, when I was working with, um, Erin here, he like his page is completely just formal men's fashion. He's never done
yeah,
streetwear, yeah. And I said to him, just bring one piece of outfit that's streetwear, and I said I'll do the rest. And literally, I just got him out of his comfort zone, and
yeah.
it was one of my best pictures. I'm not even joking, dude. Like that one just blew off, like on in terms of like engagement. Like I was just like, oh my god, dude, like like look what you've done, like it's crazy. And he was just like, I'm really inspired by drill music, and I'm like, well, I can't tell because you wear formal music, formal
Yeah,
clothes.
yeah,
But like he bought this crazy like outfit, and I was like, I would love to make that jacket feel animated. Or if someone's like got really long hair, like with
yeah.
Aaliyah,
Them
like I
ones you've
feel
got,
like
the one up there on the right where she's bending.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
she's
that
so good at like
ties into it.
being flexible because she does a lot of dancing herself. And honestly, this was something I gave her an idea of, but she took it into her own direction. And like, I wish I'd recorded this video because you should see how fast she transitions in a shoot. And
Mhm.
it literally, my camera just couldn't keep up with her. Like, it eventually ran out of buffer, and I was like, just slow down. Like, I need to like. So I think for me, posing is like my thing. Like, especially like Ramzan, like he's a model, actor, and dancer.
Yeah, I've watched the
Like,
videos of him. That's mad. There,
yeah, like
Jimmy
he
style, isn't she?
yeah, like, and this only could work because like my stylist found like the right outfits, because if he was wearing tight clothing, that would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
How does Timmy go about styling? Does she like buy the clothes or does she take them back after? How's it work?
well, she's in the comments. I mean, that's a good one if you want to answer that one, Simi. But in a nutshell, yeah, like we always plan a mood board together, and then she'll find the best place to go. So like with this one, we literally got this from Urban Outfitters,
Yeah, cool.
and this one was Top Man actually. Yeah, this one was Top Man, I think. And yeah, it was just like it was just ideas. So like one was going to be a formal editorial, and one was going to be very streetwear. But we really wanted to like have a bit of vintage throwback because he had like classical skate vans,
Yeah, classic.
and we just kind of branded it with one of my favorite brands that I always work with, and it was just like layering it and layering it. But literally, I just love movement. I love being animated. I love people being out of their normal spaces, because when you come to me, like, you're not looking for authentic posing and looking for normal posing. Like, there are tons of better photographers who will do that, like, who can find like raw authentic people. But I just like to take that one person, and in that one moment they felt really extra,
Yeah,
what I mean. Like, you look like something that you wouldn't normally do, and you're a great example of that, like, as well, like when we
yeah,
shot
that one
together.
was probably one of like, the best. I remember everyone saying to me, a load of people put it on DMs like that Michael Jackson pose is mad.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to do this posing is because like your trousers have the kappa sign on
Yeah,
it, right? And I was just like, well, that's what I would want to see in a picture, but then how can I see it a bit more like animated? And it was like, well, movement, and you had all this, and it just turned out so well, man. I love that shot, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just so
yeah. I
good.
think that's a good thing. You're into your fashion a lot as well, so you can know what kind of details of the outfit you need to show off best.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning. That's one of my things as a photographer. Like, like you're learning about photography as a fashion blogger. I'm trying to learn a bit more about fashion as a
Yeah,
fashion photographer. And then that's why talking to you or talking to a stylist, working with them really helps. Like, and I'm just kind of watching PAQ as much as I can, and reading any like blogs, or like trying to hopefully eventually buy magazines and just do a bit more studying on it. But yeah, there's
mhm.
just so much that goes into it, man. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, we got quite a few comments here actually. So the sheet around the head from Dom's last post was creative and dope. And that was a really cool picture as well, where the guy's like, shh. Took me a minute to understand what was going on first. So anything that, Oh, thanks for the lovely comments, guys. You guys are awesome. So, is there anything you want to finish up on, man? Like, can you give one piece of final advice to aspiring fashion bloggers and what they can do right now?
I think, to be honest, it's probably the best time to start because everyone's indoors, everyone's constantly checking like the social medias. It's probably the best time to grow, and because you've got so much more free time now, obviously if you're not working as well, then you can kind of do whatever you can kind of want. Like now is the time to kind of pursue any kind of dream or task that you've always wanted to do. And as you say, it's not, as I've mentioned, it's not actually that hard to be a fashion blogger. You just got to kind of as well not care what other people think. Like care what the people who like will be honest with you think. But if you in general are worried about what people care about your style, blah blah blah, then you're not doing it for the right reasons. You shouldn't be worried what people are going to think because fashion is
great. Yeah,
fashion is subjective. Like doesn't matter what people think.
Yeah, that's another great point. Fashion is subjective, so expect people to like criticize you, but expect people to also love it, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's the same with anything, isn't it? Like comedians, like people are always going to be offended by a joke, but
oh yeah. I mean, it's a form of art, right? Like fashion, like it's not one shoe fits all. So find your little tribe, be with them, grow with them, and be successful.
And also speak to other like fashion bloggers. Like you'll be surprised. Like you think just because someone's got a lot of followers doesn't mean they won't reply to you. So always like message for advice. Like always engage with the community, and it definitely helps your page grow. So like I always comment on like I always search every single like morning for new fashion bloggers and just like comment on their stuff, kind of share their stuff to kind of help one another in the whole community.
Be very like collaborative, do a lot of like reciprocal like social media like helping and sharing. Do you feel like it's quite a nice community for fashion bloggers, or is it quite competitive? Like what is it like for you?
I'd say it's quite nice because I feel like I don't know, I think obviously some people may find it competitive, but I feel like what could you say to be what are you competing on?
Exactly, yeah, because everyone's got their own unique taste, right?
Yeah, but I feel like that's the problem that some people shouldn't get into is like comparing themselves to other people because everyone kind of does it. They kind of get in that route like, oh, why is this person getting more likes when my photo just
I mean, your mental health gets really affected when you're trying to grow as a fashion blogger and you're trying to compare yourself, and especially when you're exposed to so much on social media. Like, how do you deal with that? You just kind of just do your own thing?
Mine's just, I don't know, I'm kind of the opposite with that. Like, I don't know, when people like took the piss and stuff, I kind of enjoyed it. It kind of motivated me more. So I think maybe I'm just kind of strong-minded, but I just kind of believe that if you personally like it and you enjoy taking that photo and you enjoyed the process, just because you're not getting the likes from it, then that shouldn't determine that you didn't like the photo now.
Yeah, when that's one of the reasons why Instagram is taking likes away, and I don't think they've rolled it out fully to everybody, but mine have been taken away like on the app, and I can't see other people's. And it was, I think it's a good thing. Like now I just don't really like focus on that as much anymore. It's just like I said about the image, and that's what people are always commenting on about. Robin says, I used to be like that, but when I finally had the confidence to wear something out there, almost all those thoughts disappeared. Talking about wearing clothes in general. Yeah, definitely, man. I agree. Like, 100%. Man, you've given so much input. I don't know what else to ask you. Is like, if anyone else got any final questions for Dom, shout them away. But apart from that, you've got your own page that we've just showed to everybody, so you can follow Dom on Payday Vintage. You got your own pages. You've also got Payday Pictures, where you kind of taking. Is this like an extra extension of your page?
Yeah, so that's where I've kind of dabbled into the photography. So
this is you doing photography, right? Or is this
me doing all of my shots.
So this is like how you were saying before, you're practicing to learn photography, and like I'd say like you're doing really well, dude. Like you're learning about color a lot, you're learning about location, framing, everything, and just kind of dabbling into. There's another thing you can become. You could also
it's another revenue stream.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you could be like one person who does so many different things, then you're so successful already.
Yeah, I think my end dream goal is to be like a creative director. There's a guy I follow called Torino. I met him at New York Fashion Week. He basically does like styling, photography,
everything,
influencer as well, and then can like set up like video shoots. Like he styled like ASAP Mob. He styles Danny Lay. He styled Chris Brown.
No way, that's crazy, man. That's insane. I love this shot, by the way. So, I mean, obviously, if you're taking up your journey in, fashion photography, do you think I can become a fashion blogger?
Yes, I think when I met you, I was like, your outfit was sick as well, and you accessorized really well.
Oh, I love dressing up like just like, you know, I love
I want to
streetwear and
do
things like that.
where I'll style you.
I love that actually. Yeah, I'll just be like, you know, plain ass clothing, and you've got a challenge to like just make me look like really like sick,
Yeah,
and then you can take the pictures, and I'll
yeah,
just
I'm
be
gonna
like, I'll get a mood board made by you of your pose, and I'll just be like, right, I'm gonna try and copy you.
yeah, then we could do it like the opposite way around. Like I'll
Yeah,
give you
yeah,
my order,
yeah.
you style me, and then you take the photos.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah, okay, that is the first thing we're doing after lockdown.
100%.
Does Don do the Payday Vintage site or by himself, or does he have a friend? Oh, so you already did talk about this. So yeah, he did definitely touch on that on the podcast, which you can go back and watch on. Really extensively broke it down, pretty much the whole journey of your Payday Vintage. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining. So many awesome questions. You can go back and watch the podcast. Don pretty much gave out all of his amazing like trade secrets to success. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to see what you're going to do next, and your next YouTube video, which you said is going to be about the business.
Yeah, so I think I'm either gonna do the how to get a brand deal with 0 subscribers. I feel like I want to help people out with 0 followers, but I feel like there's definitely a kind of a technique to get free stuff from brands.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch that, man. Like, I think it'd be really helpful for both photographers and fashion bloggers. So yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. All of Dom's details are in the description: Instagram, Payday Vintage, and everything else. Give him a follow, check him out, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Thanks for having me on. See you later,
Anytime, man. See ya.
Yeah.
GC on the track, boy. 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 GC on the track, boy.